Welcome back to Enkundleni Exclusive. This is Enkundleni Exclusive brought to you by Dab3 Events and supported by Oguhle Designs. Dab3 Events has a stage for hire, if you didn't know. Dab3 Events has lighting for hire, and it has got the best PA system in the city. We also have a studio for photography and videography. We do your videography from outside, indoors, weddings, funerals, anniversaries, and everything that you can name. We do those events to your satisfaction. And today, as you can see on my right and on my left, I've got Mr. and Mrs. Davies. So I'm not going to say a lot of things about them because they are here today. So I'll honor the lady. Mrs. Davies, please tell us about yourself. Who are you? And yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
the warm welcome. We are very, very glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Any chance we get to talk about this journey that we are on is very welcome because it gets the word out into the community. Part of our mission with this foundation that we'll be talking about today is to educate the community and to speak more about Down syndrome, which is honestly something that is not very much spoken about, especially in our African community. So it's having an opportunity like this is very welcome, and we're very thankful for it. So my name is Ntando Davis. I'm originally born and raised in Zimbabwe. I then did move to the US where I met my husband, who has fallen in love with Zimbabwe and with Africa, and we travel back and forth very often. Yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'll just let Mr. Davis tell us about himself as well.
So my name is Thurston Davis. As my wife has let you know, we are the Davises, and we are here because we've started a foundation called the Makhosi Michaela Foundation as well, right here in Bulawayo. And that was birthed out of the birth of our daughter, Makhosi. So her name is Makhosi Michaela Davis. And when we were pregnant with Makhosi, she was given a diagnosis of having Down syndrome. And so through that journey and through her birth, we knew that being in the States at the time, that she would have every opportunity available, basically being taken care of, her medical and her therapies, anything that she needed would have been taken care of. But Ntando being from Zimbabwe, we realized that back at home in Akaya that there's a lack of care. There's also a lack of education, a lack of people knowing what Down syndrome is even about. And those who have it are either hidden or marginalized or kind of forgotten. It's a forgotten community. So we decided to do something about it. And so we started the Makhosi Michaela Foundation, which is designed to help those and families with Down syndrome and educate them and advocate for them and provide programs for them to increase and improve their lives.
Okay. So you two guys are two of the three founders of the Makhosi Michaela
Yes.
Foundation.
Yes.
So today, why did you leave baby Makhosi?
You know what? So we're in Zimbabwe for the launch tomorrow, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Okay.
But I have to say I should have asked more questions about what we'll be talking about. We kind of our office managers scheduled us various interviews. It's going to be a long day, so this is one of several interviews we had today. So we didn't really want to be dragging the baby around. She's 18 months old now, but we'll definitely share pictures for you to share with the families at
All
home.
right.
Yes.
And if she was here, she would be on the cameras, on the microphone.
She'd be taking over all your jobs. So you might be glad. She's a force, and she's amazing. She's
Yes.
wonderful.
All right. So I just want you to take us through the when you guys discovered it, you said you went to a scan, and then can you please take us through that journey and what happened? Were you surprised? What we just want to know about that.
So yeah, the inception was it was not where we are today. Let's say that, right? I mean, initially, definitely I was in denial anyway, because so they do a test at 26 weeks called the NITP test, non-invasive, NIPT test, non-invasive parent testing, where they just test for genetic abnormalities and that kind of thing. So that they say so that they can let the parents know.
Okay.
They did the test. It came back positive for Down syndrome. I was in denial. I was like, Satanula manga. Never. This is not our story. They are lying. They're trying to get it. As you know, in the West, there's a lot of a push for, abortion and whatever. I mean, not just that, but their one recommendation to us was you can get rid of the child if you want.
Okay.
That was it. There was no counseling, no nothing. So we were like, the devil is a lie. There is no way they're trying to get us to kill our child. This is not of God.
So you guys were praying during that time?
We were praying.
You prayed?
That child was so prayed for. We planned, if ever there was a planned child, Makhosi was planned. In fact, we had wanted a boy, but it's fine. God gave us a girl. But we had been, no, she's actually number 5.
She's number 5.
She's number 5.
Okay.
But we had prayed for her. And we thought that this was not it. How can this be our story? We're like, no. So I was in denial, definitely.
Okay.
I was like, no. So the whole pregnancy, that was week 26, if you can imagine. Every time we go to a scan, they'd be like, the Down syndrome. I was like, listen, you people, stop talking to me about Down syndrome. Our child does not have it. They were like, okay, whatever. But anyway.
And the reason for that too is because there is a pretty good sized margin of error built in with that test.
Right.
So there's a lot of times where that test comes back positive, but the child does not have Down syndrome. So we were like, no, don't think so.
So you guys stayed in denial up until month 9?
Until she was born.
Until she was born.
But we had also said that if it's God's will for her to have Down syndrome, then so be it. We're going to accept it, and we're going to raise her the same way we would if she didn't.
Did you guys start doing some researches around all that, or you just
Not
praying,
until she
praying,
was born.
praying?
Because again, in the West, the response to those kinds of test results is to terminate the pregnancy. And that's not we are people of faith.
Okay.
That was not going to happen. So at one point, like my husband says, we're even like to the doctors, listen, if that is what is in here, then we shall accept that. And we will, but they fill your heart with fear, not information. So they will be telling you why, almost like it's a burden to have a child with special needs. That's the feeling we got the whole time. Like, why would you want to carry this burden? We can discuss the options of termination for you.
Or like they're influencing you
yes,
to
that
get
is
rid
the
of
only
the
that was the only options that were being presented. There was never a time when the doctors were like, well, look, even if you do have a child with special needs, these are the things that you can do. That all came later when we were now looking for the information. At that time,
after the baby was
born. So also we didn't like that. That was a push to termination, and we rejected that part. And so we also kind of felt like, no, this is not of God. God's not giving us a child with Down syndrome. But then she came. Mm-hmm.
And then she came.
Then she came.
And then how did things change? How did you guys then, okay, here is our child now?
Yes. So, go
Well,
ahead.
of course, we fell in love with her the minute we saw her.
Of course.
'Cause she's
Beautiful.
she's so beautiful, and we laugh because her eye color changed like 3 or 4 times before they settled on their current brown color. They were green, gray, they went blue, and so we were just like in awe of her. She was just so gorgeous, and it was a thing of, okay, Lord, we're here, she's here. What do you what is our path now with her? And so we embraced it. It took
You're
a
making it
few
sound
days.
clear-cut.
I'm gonna let you tell your side.
No, you're right. You're a more grounded person. I cried. I cried for days. I cried for 3 solid days. I cried.
You cried.
I cried. I did because I wasn't ready for that. Like I said, I was in denial. I didn't think that's what God had for us. But then when they gave us the baby and they confirmed, yes, your child is Down syndrome. I did. I cried for 3 days straight until God said, what are you crying for? I don't often say God said. I'm not that kind of person. But I feel like in that moment,
he did say,
God was asking me, what are you really crying for? And I was like, my child. And he was like, no, you're not crying for her. You're crying for you. Because she is planned. I knew her before she was born. And she has a purpose and a plan. I have that for her. So you're not crying for her, you're crying for you. And that stopped me in my tears. and then that's when, we changed our prayers from, okay, God, why me? To, Lord, okay, what is your purpose? What is your plan for this child that you've given us? And I'll tell you one more amazing fact that further confirmed that this was a God thing for us. So she was scheduled to be born on March the 20th.
No, April
10th, right. And then the doctor was concerned that she wasn't growing anymore in there. And she was like, no, we need to have a C-section on Monday. This was a Friday. We went in. She was like, no, we need to take her out for her own safety and for yours, right? So she scheduled a C-section on Monday, the 20th of March. So we prepare, pray all weekend. I really didn't want to get cut. I didn't want a C-section, so we prayed for a natural birth, a miracle. And we get into surgery on Monday. They prepare, and the doctor says, well, I've had you on my heart all weekend. And you know what? If you started labor, we'll try for a natural birth. We were like, okay, thank you, God.
Prayers have been answered.
Yeah. Prayers have been answered. So this is March the 20th, right? That's when she was scheduled. She should have come on March the 20th. That morning, doctor said, okay, we'll do a natural birth. So they induce me and everything, and labor starts, right? Does she come on March 20th? No. And everything was progressing fine. There was no issues, no complications, nothing. It was good progression. She came on March 21st. It was 2 a.m. that she finally came. Only for us to find out the next day that March 21st is World Down Syndrome Day.
Wow.
That is the day that the world has chosen to celebrate people with Down syndrome. Wow. So we were like, okay, God.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We understand.
So yeah. So we felt like that was a further confirmation that this is God's plan. Mm-hmm. God's plan. She's born on World Down Syndrome Day.
So her birthday is every year.
Every year
will be on World Down Syndrome.
And everyone is going to be celebrating.
Everyone in the entire world celebrates people born with Down syndrome on March 21st. So we were like, okay, God, this is you. So what do you want us to do? That's when it began.
So this process, it was just you guys, or did you find professional help to change your perspectives, and like it's just you guys and God?
Yes.
Pretty much. At the time. It was just us and God. And 3 days after we got home, and we're going through these emotions and stuff, and I'm in the shower and I'm still kind of grappling with it, right? Because it's still new, right? I'm like, oh, Lord, okay. This is what you've given us. So what are we doing this? And I'm in the shower and I'm just talking to God. And I feel like in that moment, God started to show me pictures of children like Makhosi in Zimbabwe. And I came out of the shower and I said, honey, I think I know why. I think I know why God wants us to do this. I don't have a clear idea of what it's like to have Down syndrome in Zimbabwe, but I feel like God wants us to start a foundation that will support children like Makhosi in Zimbabwe because she has everything here. But I have a feeling that there they don't have anything. And mind you, at this time, we're like in the US, right? We've had no idea of what people go through who have Down syndrome here. So we start doing research. We start trying to reach out, trying to find out, what are there any organizations in Zimbabwe that support, people with Down syndrome? What's there? What's already there on the ground? We're like trying to find. So we came across Zimbabwe Down Syndrome Association, start trying to find contact details, start trying to talk to people. And as we started talking to people, the confirmation became clear. We just began to really understand that the situation here in Zimbabwe, in Africa, is dire. It's dire. The need is huge. The people with Down syndrome here are ostracized, they are sidelined, they are not even recognized. Disability is a huge issue in Africa. However, neurological disabilities, which is what Down syndrome is one of, people, with neurological disabilities, it's even worse. Yes, in Africa, like if you're physically disabled or you're blind or you're deaf, it might be recognized, and even then it's a challenge. Neurological disability,
Yeah.
nothing. And so we knew that God had given us this gift
to go out there
so that we would look
into
this. We feel honored, honestly, that God trusted us with Makhosi and has trusted us with this vision. Because in Ndebele, we will say, umsebenzi mkhulu.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to do.
Okay.
And the more we are in this, we've been doing this for a year now, the more we do it, the more we realize that, yes, for sure, we are here for a very specific reason, and we're very passionate and we're very excited about
All right. Okay. So I want to know from you, sir. She's in the shower, and then these pictures come to her. And then she comes to you and says, honey, yeah, now I know. And then you just jump on it and say, yeah, let's do it.
Well, and the other side to that, though, is that I was sitting there, with Makhosi, and I'm not quite having the same conversation, but I knew because we had prayed for Makhosi before she was even born, even conceived. We had been praying about this child, and I knew then that the child that we had, our fifth child, would be, God was going to use that child for a special purpose. Now, we thought it was a boy. We were praying for a boy.
do you guys have girls? Girl.
Well, no. So I'm the last Davis male in my family.
Okay.
So we were praying for a little Davis boy.
All right.
But was still happy all the same when we found out that Makhosi was going to be a girl, because it ultimately doesn't matter. Children are a gift, and so we were happy either way.
Yeah.
And but I was kind of feeling that God had a purpose for her having Down syndrome, because like she said, we prayed that she wouldn't have Down syndrome. Then when she was born and it was confirmed that she had it, it was like, okay, if she has it, God has reason for it.
Right.
And I knew God had some plan for us. I just didn't know exactly what. So then when she came out and said, I think I know exactly, we need to be looking at Zimbabwe. And it was like, you know what? Okay, there you go. So it was like another piece of the puzzle.
All right.
And so what I find is that God He gives you pieces of the puzzle, not the whole picture, but He'll give you pieces. And the more you follow, the more of the pieces you get.
It's more like a treasure hunt, something like that. Okay.
And I mean, even up to today, He's been adding pieces to the puzzle ever since.
All right.
And so it was easy when she said that. I was like, okay,
Let's do
that
this
makes
thing.
sense.
So at that time, did you guys have any idea on how to start a foundation later on in Zimbabwe? And then,
We had no idea.
so which means that was challenge number one.
That is challenge number one. And honestly, I'll say this is what God said, and is still saying today, because today, a year and a bit later, we're still, the vision is growing, right? And it's bigger than we could even imagine. So at that time, we'd never done a foundation, never worked in, a nonprofit, anything, didn't know how to register one or whatever. But God said, put one foot in front of the other.
Step by
Do
step.
what is in front of you, and I will do the rest. I will continue. I will open the doors, and I'll bring the right people your way.
Okay.
To this day. No joke. Even as recently as 2 hours ago, we had a meeting with a certain person who we believe is going to open certain doors, and we had no idea that was the case. But God brings people our way.
Because this is His plan.
Because this is His plan, and we are the vessel. So He just, expects us to operate with what is in front of us, and that is what we do. We're trying to be obedient. We do what we can, and He does the rest. And so we managed to register the foundation, got the 501c3 status, which is the tax-exempt status in the U.S., registered it as a community veritas locally in Zimbabwe, and we started operating on we launched it around March 21st this year. But the plans had started shortly after she was born. We started planning. The launch was in March this year, and we're very excited, and I'm sure we'll talk about the plans that are coming by the time we get to March 21st, 2025.
Okay.
We've got some other things in the pipeline, so we're very excited with what God is doing. And the more He does things, the more He confirms that we didn't mishear.
So you guys have not had a lot of challenges starting, getting this foundation off the ground, and it's just God has just been like taking you to a step, or
It's. I mean, you definitely have challenges no matter what, especially when you're doing something that is God's plan. There's always roadblocks and always things that'll come in front of you to try to derail you or discourage you. But I feel like that God has given us favor. He's given us one office manager, Lillian and Tevington Vela, who are here with us today. You could not ask for better people to be here on the ground and handle the day to day. And He's given us, right now we have 45 or so children and families that are signed up to MMF, who we are able to do, have medical visits and do cardiac screening, which is a big part of why we're here for the launch tomorrow. And we'll talk some more about that. All right. But they do physical therapy, speech therapy, sign language, and many of the kids, when we were here in March, there were so many who needed help sitting up or had to be held or propped up. And after a few months of physical therapy, now they're sitting up on their own and making strides, and people are being educated about what Down syndrome is, what the challenges are, and what things are there and what MMF offers in order to help them. So we've been blessed, So even with whatever has been a challenge and starting a foundation, we've been able to overcome it, and like she said, keep going one step at a time.
All right, yeah. It's good that you brought up the point of the programs that you're offering. I was gonna go to that as well.
Yeah.
So I want to know more about the programs that you are offering to.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, if you take a step back, let me just explain again. So Down syndrome is a chromosomal disorder. Children that are born with Down syndrome, it can present itself in physical delays, like milestone delays, and also cognitive delays as well. So, for example, sometimes children are, sitting up at, 3, 4, 5 months. Our children with Down syndrome, it can take them longer to sit up because they're born. People with Down syndrome present with what's called low muscle tone. So their muscle tone is different to others. And they have to, which is why we provide services such as physiotherapy to strengthen the body. So, Makhosi Michaela Foundation, our focus is to, support children and families with Down syndrome to give them a better quality of life. Of course, there's no cure for Down syndrome, right? But there are things that you can do that can give a person with Down syndrome a better quality of life, right? So the main things are physiotherapy, speech therapy, things like we also have sign language classes because a lot of our children present with delayed speech, right? And if you can imagine someone who struggles to communicate, some of them are labeled as nonverbal. Being nonverbal doesn't mean that you don't have a desire to communicate. It just means the normal channels of speech are a little bit delayed, or they're slower, or it's not as easy. But people who are nonverbal, they desire to communicate just as much as you and I. So we have sign language classes because they must be able to communicate and express themselves, right? You spoke about challenges.
Yeah.
Some of our biggest challenges are educating the communities, right? Educating parents about the need for such services as that what we're offering. Educating the community that Down syndrome is not a curse. It's not a a thing or something that mother or father did, and then they became cursed, or there's some relative or loileo. No, Down syndrome is not a curse. It is a chromosomal disorder, right? And there are many things that parents can do to give that child a best chance in life. So this is why Makhosi Michaela is here. We offer those services. You heard my husband speaking about how some of the children who have been doing physiotherapy were not able to sit up on their own, but they've been faithfully with their parents attending physiotherapy sessions, and today they are now able to sit.
Yeah.
They're able to do things. So that strengthens the body. We do a lot of those things with Makhosi. They say that children with Down syndrome walk after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Makhosi started walking at 15 months.
Wow.
In the normal range,
Wow.
like what you'd say neurotypical children walk at. Why? We, from the time she was born, worked very hard with her, doing all the exercises, and it's very simple things that the physiotherapists do. This is what we share with our parents here. And those that are doing it have experienced the benefits of it, right?
Okay, so when you say educating the communities or parents, you mean the parents of children living with Down syndrome,
Yes.
or
them as well, yes.
or them as well. So
Yes.
so you do come across parents that are still in denial, or that don't want to participate in.
Still in denial, don't want to participate, but also are depressed,
Yeah.
are, they are ostracized by their families, their communities. We have a lot of single mothers in the office. You'll ask Lillian in Tebington, who the husband, as soon as he found out that we have a child with special needs, abandoned the family.
Okay.
So there's a lot of education that needs to be done within the families themselves, with the parents, because we believe that's our first protocol, right? If you strengthen families, if you strengthen parents, they are the very ones that provide the correct environment
For
that
the
that child needs in order to thrive, right? A child with Down syndrome is not much different from another child, except that they have delays. It might take a little longer. Even if you think of children that are neurotypical, you'll see that even they don't do things in the same time frame. Every
true.
child
That's true.
is different.
different.
Every child has their own time. And with our children with Down syndrome, it just takes them even more time and a little more patience for them to do things. They can do things just like, all other children. It's just a matter of knowledge. Knowledge is power. And we like to try and empower our parents with knowledge. What is Down syndrome? What can you do at home? What are the things that you don't need a lot of money to address some of these things? It's just stuff that you need to do at home together as a family to support that child. And they can do that. And that empowers the child. Celebrate your child. Celebrate your child.
Yeah.
Tina, we celebrate Makhosi every single, so we have 4 other children. So we've raised 4 neurotypical children. We took for granted the milestones they go through. Oh, she's sitting. Oh, she's crawling. Oh, she's walking. Oh, she's standing.
But with
Never
Makhosi,
thought
it was
about it,
different.
but with Makhosi it was different. It really educated us, right? Like we learned so much, to the point where for her to hold her head up, we celebrated that. For her to sit, we celebrated that because we understood that the challenge that it is. Do you know the muscles that it takes in your body for you to be able to sit up?
Oh, so now
It's
you
not-
guys are really, really researching and,
We've
and
really
paying
researched
attention
and
to
paid
these
attention,
things.
and you need your back muscles to be strong, your abdominal muscles to be strong for you to sit, just to sit. And so we did a lot of muscle exercises that strengthen her back, that strengthen her stomach. She's sitting. For her to crawl, your arms have to be strong, right? Your legs have to be strong. Again, your core. People take so much for granted about this core. If anything happens to your midsection, you're going to do.
So for real, Makhosi
For
has
real.
taught you guys
She has
a lot.
taught
A
us.
lot.
So instead, they always say, you're going to have to do so much for this child. And she has taught us a lot.
Yeah, no, I can see, because
Yeah.
even me, I've learned a lot right now
Yeah.
about a baby growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
They are developmental milestones. And we were determined from the beginning that we will not limit Makhosi. We will not put her in a box. We will do everything we can to encourage her full potential, and that so she can be everything that God made her to be, right? And so she's even starting school
Okay.
in January. We're very excited.
Back there in oh yeah.
Well, we've actually moved to South Africa
Oh, okay.
for mainly for the work that we're doing here in this
All right,
foundation.
all right.
So she's starting school in January. We're very excited. She's very busy. She walks, like we said, she'd be pulling all these things,
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even, unless we told you, really know that she's a child with special needs, because except for the speech, there's a little delay in the speech, so we'll be starting her on speech therapy. And these are the services that we offer to the children here in Zimbabwe.
So I think this thing is also more on the parents as well, because if you guys had relaxed and whatever, what you're talking about now would not have happened. So now you spoke about the parents that are still in denial and stress or and all those things. Because maybe of their relatives and whatever. So how did you guys overcome all those things? So I'm asking this so that the people that may be watching who are going through the same thing know how to overcome their relatives or whatever, so that they are not stressed and they are able to like focus on raising
Very
their child.
important,
Yeah.
yes.
So one of the things we did was after we did the launch on March 21st, which was an event and kind of introduce who the MMF or Makhosi Michaela Foundation is. We at that time we actually did a sit down group meeting with all the parents, where parents just got together and talked about their experience being a parent of a child with special needs, what they were feeling, what they were going through. They were able to encourage each other. And from that, we created a WhatsApp group so that those same parents are all on the WhatsApp group and they're able to talk about different things, different topics, ask questions, say, hey, my child is facing this. Has anyone gone through this? What do you think? Or they celebrate each other's birthdays. Or different things. If someone makes up a song and sings a song, they share that on the group. So it's a way for them to keep in touch. We also, in the last Saturday of every month, we've been doing what we call Super Saturday, which is basically a time for the parents and children to come together. The children can play together and get into a bounce house or do different activities and play with children like themselves. And then the parents get together and they do another group session where they just sit and talk. Okay. And what that does is it allows everyone to feel like they're a part of a community, they're a part of a family, they're accepted, they're not shunned, they can be themselves. And the parents get a chance to just let it out, talk about what they're feeling, talk about, the challenges that they're facing, the triumphs that they've had. If a child has been going through physical therapy and has improved, they're able to share that. If they're learning sign languages and learn new signs, they're able to share that. So what that does is it creates a place, one of safety, and also a place where they can, like I said, not feel marginalized or not feel pushed to the side, but they can just be. And so that's one of the biggest things for the parents that has been very helpful to them. But of course, there's still more work to be done because even once they finish that, they still have to go home.
Yeah.
And a lot of parents are struggling to put food on the table. And when your family's hungry and you have to choose between food and medicine or food and therapy, you generally you have to go to food. So we've started trying to help with that, with getting food and donating to parents who are in need within the group, so that they can concentrate on the child's needs and their children's needs and not have to worry so much about putting food on the table. So those are just some of the things
that are happening.
Yes.
Okay, so I've heard you talk about the launch that is tomorrow.
And sorry, to answer your question, we were very fortunate. Our family is very supportive. We didn't have much in terms of family rejecting her. The family is in love with her. So we were very blessed, but we know that that's not everyone's story. A lot of people have a lot of rejection, a lot of ostracization, a lot of blame. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of families here in Africa believe that things like Down syndrome is a curse. Throw the child away, or that mother, you see what you brought to this family. It's not true, so.
And even the parents themselves, they maybe start hating themselves for that and blaming themselves. And
there's a lot of stress. And I really commend Tevington and Lillian because they've counseled with and sat with families. It'll bring you to tears yourself. Honestly, this is ministry. And so we couldn't have asked for better office managers. But the other thing that we try to do is, yes, we'll sit with them, we'll cry with them, we'll encourage them, but we'll encourage them to do and to, do things for themselves, do things for their children, do things for their family. This is not the end of the world.
Right.
There's more. And if God has trusted you with this special person, then you know
You have to live up to that.
you have to live
You
up
have
to that. You know.
Yeah, no, I
So
see.
yeah.
Yeah, so now tell me about the launch. Because you
We
seem
are
excited
so
about...
excited.
Yes, we are.
Very excited about the launch. So to take a step back again, when we launched the foundation in March, we didn't have this as part of the programs. However, as we started to interact with the community, we lost 2 of our children. They passed on. And that was very heartbreaking. And as we start to try to understand what happened, we start to understand that we lost them to general illnesses that were made worse by undiagnosed heart conditions. So you find that our children with Down syndrome are born with what is called congenital heart defects. Their hearts are not always whole. Their hearts don't always function very well. Even Makhosi herself, she was born with 2 holes in her heart.
Okay.
Thank God, we are very blessed. Her heart is fine. Her cardiologist is very happy with her progress. Her holes are closing by themselves. That is about 50% of the children. They will heal by themselves naturally without any intervention. The other 50%, they can have serious heart defects that can actually lead to death.
So the heart defects is the same for every child born with...
It's not the same, but a large majority of them are born with those congenital heart defects. And then again, even if you are born with a congenital heart defect, it's also not the same. There's a range. It's like there's a range. Some are very serious and some are not so serious. Like I said, Makhosi is on the end of the spectrum where hers were not serious, as serious. I mean, it was serious enough that we had to go make sure we go to the cardiologist, get her checked, and even now we need to return again so she can be checked that it's definitely progressing in the right way. Her holes are closing by themselves. The other children on the other end of the spectrum, it can be very serious to a point where some children as early as 6 weeks are in surgery to correct that heart problem, heart abnormalities. Some can live with it for some time, but if it is not addressed, it can cause real health issues and real problems to a point of death. So when I say this echocardiogram machine is here to save lives, I'm not actually, just embellishing. Yes, it is literally here to save lives. Because unfortunately, you cannot diagnose a heart condition without the machine. The doctor can't just look at the child or just put the stethoscope and say, yeah, I hear a heart murmur and it's at this, level of seriousness. No, you actually have to have a heart scan. So this is what this machine is. It is the second one in Bulawayo.
Wow.
Up to this point, we had 1 echocardiogram machine in the entire city of Bulawayo.
Where is that one?
In Bilo. There was 1. Now, if you can imagine, there's 1 machine, echocardiogram machine. Everyone with heart abnormalities must go there. Children with neurological disabilities are at the bottom of this pile. There were, Lillian would tell us that some of the mothers are having a struggle even getting appointments. Some that got appointments would wait 8 to 9 months for an appointment.
To get an appointment.
Get the appointment. You get your appointment, you have to wait that 8-9 months. By the time you get to 8-9 months, someone else has come who is neurotypical. They've given them the space. They are pushed out of the line.
What?
Oh. Our children are ostracized and pushed to the edge of society. it's almost like their lives don't matter. You know, there was a time in America where it was big, Black Lives Matter. Down syndrome lives matter. And
that's
yet,
true.
in our communities in Africa especially, Down syndrome lives don't matter. Literally don't matter. Because they would say, it was almost like they're saying the life of a child with Down syndrome is not as valuable as the life of a neurotypical person. They have the same heart challenge, right?
Yeah.
They must also have the same services.
Yeah, and the same
But
treatment. And
Down syndrome, how?
Yeah.
What for?
What for?
Yeah.
Right? So that really pushed us to say, you know what, we need to bring this machine in. So now, this is why we are celebrating
So
this machine.
This is a very
It is an expensive machine,
Yes.
and we are very thankful to all those that came together to, fundraise to make this possible. But again, it's a machine that is so critical and so needed. We have partnered with a doctor in the city of Bulawayo. His name is Dr. Tata. Again, we are so thankful, Dr. Tata, for your love and for your contribution. He has agreed to house this machine. It's housed at his rooms. All our children in the foundation and anyone else who is in need and cannot afford the service comes through the Makhosi Michaela office. They are scheduled for an appointment. They go to Dr. Tata's office free of charge. Free of charge, no delays. Children are getting seen, they're getting scanned, they're getting diagnosed. We are in partnership with cardiologists. We have a cardiologist on the team, cardiothoracic surgeons. They read the scans. Dr. Tata takes the scans to them. So we are now putting together a list of children that have the severe end of the spectrum of their heart challenges.
So they can go first.
They can go first. We have a program that is this machine is part of this program that we are calling Heart to Heart.
Okay.
In March 21st, 2025, we'll be launching the Heart to Heart program. What is that? It's a program where we are going to bring cardiothoracic, but pediatric cardiothoracic surgeons to Zimbabwe to operate on these children. Up to this point, if a child managed to get to that scan after 9 months and then they were told they need surgery, what they were doing was they were applying to government for these grants. But it's only one child at a time who's being given this grant. It's a lot of money. They then take the child, then they go to India with that money to get surgery. Can you imagine, single mom, child, you're off in India, in a country you don't know the people, you don't know the language, you don't know anyone. But you're going because you need to save your child's life, right? So that presents other challenges. So we certainly thought, what can we do? We can bring doctors here. They come all the time on different things. But the thing with these are children, these small hearts. So Zimbabwean cardiothoracic surgeons are there, but they operate on adults. So what we don't have in Zim right now is pediatric cardiothoracic surgeons that can operate on little hearts. So that is why this heart-to-heart program is going to be bringing in surgeons into the country to operate on these little hearts and save these lives. So when we say we're literally here to try and save lives,
like it's literally
we don't want to lose any more children like we lost at the beginning of this year. Don't want that. So this machine and this heart-to-heart program is a very big part of the foundation now. That is what we're really focused on. And so that's why we're here. I know sometimes people will be like, echocardiogram machine, why are you guys even celebrating? What is a big deal? That is why it's a big deal.
Yes.
It's a big deal to the Bulawayo community.
Yes.
It's not just the children with Down syndrome that will benefit from this machine because we've opened it up to the community at large.
I was about to ask on that as well.
Yes. This machine but it will primarily serve our children with Down syndrome for once they are first in line. So first, they are a priority.
Yeah.
But if anybody needs that kind of service and cannot afford it, they are very welcome. and they will get that service. They just need to come through the offices, talk to Lillian and Tevington. They will be scheduled for an appointment and they will be seen.
And this is only the kids, children?
No,
Specifically
it's
for
open.
children, no.
It's open to children and adults. However, the thing is, if these heart defects are not addressed whilst they're young, the likelihood is they won't see adulthood. So if a child has made it to adulthood, they're likely fine on that level.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of times, if those defects are not addressed early in life, they won't even make it to adulthood.
Okay.
So yes, that is why it's mainly a program that addresses children.
No, I see. So, how is so tomorrow is tomorrow, yeah? The launch?
Yes.
The launch is tomorrow, and people are going to be coming there. And
yes, so we have those that have been invited and have tickets to come tomorrow at the venue. And again, it's just a day that we will celebrate this machine being here and being in service, and preparing for the next step, which is to, after the kids have been scanned, is to prepare to get them surgery, that for those that need it. So that'll be our next program that we'll be working on for March of next year.
Yes, so even though the event is an invite only, what we do want is, if anyone is listening and anyone can see this podcast, if you have knowledge of anyone who has Down syndrome, you know a family that has a child that has Down syndrome, please get the word out to this family. And please let them know they can come and see us right here in the city of Bulawayo. We are located on George Silundiga Avenue, 114 George Silundiga Avenue, between 11th and 12th. Please come and see our office managers, Lillian and Tevington. We have many services and things available for families that have Down syndrome, but again, we are still getting the word out. People don't know about us very much yet. But if you're listening to this podcast and you spent this hour with us, we are very thankful. Please, if you know anyone who has a child that has Down syndrome, please send them our way. We want to have them. We are looking for them. We are looking forward to meet them. Please send them our way.
Okay, yes. Nice. And then anything else also on how people can help out there?
Yes, we also are definitely looking at donations. If you have, whether it's monetary, whether it's clothing, food, or your time, or if you have a skill, or if you are a doctor and you have certain, or a therapist, that you have certain skills, please come see us as well. We are always looking for those that can help and help grow the vision.
That's right. Because these children are our responsibility. It's not anything, me and my husband can do, or Lillian and Tevington can do alone. The entire community of Bulawayo must come around these families. They are our responsibility. They are our children. It's not something we can do alone. We need the community to come around us. So even if you're there, you have no money, that is not a barrier. We need to get the information out into the community, educate each other as the community, that, the families and children with Down syndrome are not disabled. We don't like to use the word disabled. We like to say they are differently abled. If you just give them a chance, you will see the things that they are able to do. As it is Makhosi, we do not limit her. We firmly believe that what we're doing, we're just stewards. We are laying the foundation for her. By the time she comes through college and she's finished university, she will run her foundation. She will be running the Makhosi Michaela Foundation. By the time she's 25, we will be in the region. We will be serving other countries. We will have moved into the rest of Zimbabwe, and we'll be in other countries in the region. By the time we are gone and she's buried us, the foundation will be in the rest of Africa. That is the vision that we have. Because the problems and the challenges we're experiencing here in city of Bulawayo are not nuanced to the entire continent of Africa. This is a very real challenge, a challenge that must not be pushed to the back of the pile anymore. We are trying to be here to address that. So that is our mission and our purpose. We are business owners, but we are very passionate about this foundation, and that's what we're doing.
Oh, that's great. Any message that you have for especially fathers out there, because they are the support system to the lady or to the woman after they have given birth to a child living with Down syndrome. So any message for fathers and also parents out there on this?
Definitely. As a father, it's not just up to the mother to raise the child, and it goes for any child. But a child with Down syndrome, you have to be active. You have to be a part of the therapy, a part of the learning, a part of helping them to sit and strengthen their muscles. So be active. Be an active father. Also, do your fatherly duty to be the best provider that you can, so that they don't have to worry about food. And I know that life and jobs are scarce and things are hard. So with that, do the best you can, but be active. Learn about Down syndrome. If you don't know, Google. Come to the office. Go to our website, the Makhosi Michaela Foundation.org. We have information about what Down syndrome is and what can be done to help. Educate yourself and be active. Those are the biggest things. And really that goes not just for fathers, but for all family members, whether it's Gogo and Kulu or whether it's aunt, uncle, brother, sister, everyone. It takes the village community to help. So everyone should start learning sign language. Everyone should help with the physical development. So that's it. Just everyone get involved and love the child, love on the parents. Everyone needs your support.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot today. It's just for emphasis sake. Can you please repeat where people can find Makhosi Michaela Foundation? Are there socials, physically, and all those things?
Yes. You can find us online at makhosimichaelafoundation.org. We are on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us there. Please tell me the phone number again. 077 0773 381 411. Yes. So please reach out. But again, we are at 114 George Salundiga Avenue at the Talco offices. We are housed in there. That's between 11th and 12th Avenue. Please come and see us. We are ready and waiting for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I've
for
learned
having
a
us.
lot
Thank you.
today. Today alone. I've learned so
Wonderful.
much, guys.
Awesome. Thank
This
you.
is Enkundleni podcast. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, and also hit the notification button. And guys, just tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And this was Mr. and Mrs. Davies from Makhosi Michaela Foundation. And for today, it's goodbye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.